Good evening and welcome to another edition of Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. I'm your host, Tyler Clemens. Got a little bit of a blast from the past this evening with an interview all the way from Clover, South Carolina. Now, you might be asking who or what did you interview in Clover, South Carolina? Well, folks, Carolina Chuck is going to be back on NBC Watertown for tonight only. Yes, Carolina Chuck was up here in the North Country for 3 years, selling vehicles with FX Caprera Honda, and recently moved back to his hometown of Clover, South Carolina, selling Chevrolets for Fred Caldwell dealership down there. He's continuing the Carolina Chuck theme and doing a great job with it as well, having a lot of success down there in South Carolina. We got him on Zoom earlier this week to kind of talk about what's going on in Clover, South Carolina, how things have changed for him, but also his time here in the North Country as well. A lot of folks miss him on the radio, miss his podcast, and overall his just community spirit that he brought here to the North Country. So we'll talk about his podcast. We'll talk about the auto industry, really, as he's a top salesman there in South Carolina as well. So all of that is going to be coming up here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. Stay tuned after the break. And we are back here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. As I mentioned before the break, we had Carolina Chuck on Zoom here at NBC Watertown Studios earlier this week. We're going to talk to Carolina Chuck about his podcast, how he's continuing it there in Clover, South Carolina. We will talk about how life has changed for him a little bit, but also the good times that he had here in his 3 years living here in the North Country. We talk about all of that here in this interview, which is coming up right now. Here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown, and look who I have on the screen. I know I previewed it before the break, but right here on NBC Watertown yet again, Carolina Chuck.
What's up,
It's been so long, man. How you been?
dude? I've been pretty good. I miss you guys.
Yeah, well, we miss you up here in the North Country. So, for anyone who doesn't know, right, Carolina Chuck swept the North Country for boy, how long were you up here for?
I was up there for 3 years.
Yeah, and it was a quick. It seemed like it was way too quick because you got here on scene and instantly you had this persona about you, and obviously you brought in the Carolina Chuck theme to FX Caprera Honda for a while. Talk about where that Carolina Chuck came from and how it ballooned.
Okay, so I sold cars a long time ago, right? And I got into B2B sales, and it wasn't as glamorous as selling cars, right? So I studied some sales and some branding and everything. And I left a company in North Carolina under a non-compete, and we came up there to see my wife's family, and they invited me to stay. I was like, I'm not moving to New York. And not to shout out a brand or anything, but I tried some Tim Hortons coffee, and I was like, well, maybe we can go to New York, right? And so we decided we'd come up there and try it out. And I sounded different, So the Capreras, they put me on the radio, and I knew I had to brand myself a little bit. So my first radio commercial wasn't all that. And Charlie Caprera owns all the dealerships. I go by Charlie. And they said, we got to call you something different. They said, how about Chaz? I was like, Chaz? I was like, I don't think so. They said, how about Chuck? I was like, a lot of friends call me Chuck. I was like, we could go with Chuck. And then I had a customer text me one day, said, Carolina Chuck, will you grab something out of my trade? I said, that's it. So I hit the radio. I said, hey, y'all, it's Carolina Chuck down here at FX Caprera Honda. And hanging out with Johnny Susano and all the DJ guys and talking to you. And they said, you got to start a podcast. And it was easy for me because I wasn't aware of the North Country. I didn't know, I wasn't aware that existed. All a Southern guy like me knows is New York City, so it was all legit. I'm like, well, I get to explore this and have conversations, and I had to learn to do all the recordings and everything, And yeah, I mean, so the next thing I know, I had Nate on there, and NBC was like, "Come on." I said, "All right."
Yeah, I remember the humble beginnings. I think I definitely was not the first, but I was one of the first to come into your kitchen where you had the two camera
Yeah,
setup, two microphones. We did
for sure.
a little quick podcast there. That was like really, I wouldn't say it was the beginning of podcasting, but it was the beginning of like North Country folks having a podcast. You were really
Yeah.
one of the first, the pioneers there to kind of bring that. So talk about kind of how that you talked about the idea, but talk about like the success from that and how it blossomed. I mean, it
Oh
really was cool to
man.
see.
So I'm telling you, it was, I'm just an old country boy, and I go to Walmart, and people are like, "Hey, there's Carolina Chuck," and I'm like, uh hey, like, I don't know
Yeah,
what
want
to
to buy
do.
a
I don't know
car?
what Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. And I stand there and have a like it was awesome, but I'd have like a little awkward conversation, and the real dude, I fell in love with the North Country. I'm glad you're doing this today because I miss it, and there's just no way to be in two places at one time. But I wish I could, I wish I could wake up and drive right there, sometimes, and it's just so far away. But yeah, so podcast, it became, it was, the success, and just getting out in front of people like that was just an incredible experience. I mean, I wasn't ready. I mean, I was ready for it, but I wasn't prepared to go like it did. It was pretty awesome. And now I got the same thing going on back home, and complete strangers are like, "Hey, there's Carolina Chuck," and I'm getting invited to do all these things at like schools and stuff now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I did want to touch on that. So it's not just the persona didn't just come here to the North Country. It's also followed you back home in
Hmm.
Clover, correct? Is that where
Clover, South
you're
Carolina.
residing now? Yeah,
Yep.
Clover, South Carolina. So that persona has continued even into Clover, and you're still continuing the podcast. So kind of talk about how the success of the podcast that's even not just the North Country, but and folks maybe in the North Country who miss you maybe don't realize that you're still keeping it going.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So I got down here, and I've met a lot of people from New York, and to be able to say that I was living in Watertown like blows them away. So yeah, I came back down here. I was like, I still wanted to do the podcast. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it for NBC because NBC needs you, right? They need the local content. And I couldn't do that. So I, it's a pain in the butt to edit for TV too, by the way.
A
Congratulations.
little bit.
So now I can just send it to YouTube and it'll be good. But no, I came down here and I started connecting with people doing things in my community, my hometown, and it's a little bit different. I had to brand it different because it was up there. It was a Southerner's perspective of the North Country. Now it's just hometown pride, kind of like what you've got going on for you, and it's successful. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm not on the radio or anything yet, but yeah, it's been going on. It's been going pretty good down here, and I've got to go to high school games and get on the loudspeaker and do all that stuff. But I mean, I love it. And it all started when I was a kid. I played baseball. I was a pitcher and a catcher, and I liked. I'm not an attention kind of person. It's more of that personal pressure of being in front of people like that really test. I'm really more of introverted than anything, but just getting out in front of people like that and kind of it's the new I think it's the new way to like prove yourself, like you back in the old times, you go out and hunt for bear or something, and now it's like you got to test yourself and embarrass yourself, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to wrap up that interview with Carolina Chuck. He's going to talk a little bit more about Clover, South Carolina, and all the times he had here in the North Country. So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, more with Carolina Chuck here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. And we're back here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. As mentioned before the break, we have the second part of the interview with Carolina Chuck. If anyone remembers, Carolina Chuck was on NBC Watertown for a brief period while he was up here in the North Country. He had his own show, that podcast that we talked about in that interview, the first part of the interview. That was actually here on NBC Watertown. So some great memories of having Carolina Chuck here on this station. We're going to finish up the interview here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown.
Sure. So obviously your career, your occupation, you're in sales, you're in automobile sales, right? Give a shout out to your dealerships at Fred Caldwell, I believe.
Yep, Fred Caldwell Chevrolet, and I'm gonna shout out FX Caprera because
Sure.
Frankie and Billy and Charlie, they taught me a thing that got me hired down here. So I'm able to post cars online just like they do and sell them just like that. And very quickly, I became the top salesman at my dealership in my hometown, just from learning from those guys. So they do a good job. They taught me some good stuff, and I came down to a dealership that would match their community spirit and everything. And I mean, it's not like one of those scumbag dealerships that you hear about.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's yeah. So I learned a lot from up there, and I appreciate those guys. And I always say that Frankie and them put me on $1 million worth of game. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Absolutely. So the industry's kind of changed a little bit, right? I mean, you used to be, used to be a firm handshake and a nice suit, and now you see a more of a like you have to be visual, right? You see all these
yeah,
social media pages of Russ Flips Whips and
yes, I love that guy.
Bentley and bow ties and all these guys who are doing like automobile videos, but they're showing their occupation side. So kind of talk about how the industry's kind of flipped a little bit and how it's kind of leaning into what you are so good at.
Right. So yeah, so I go up against some guys who've been at my dealership. They've been in the game 30 years,
Yeah.
and they come to me and they're like, "How are you doing this?" I'm like, "Same easy way you could do it is just friend everybody around you and post cars, I post cars and I'm actually, I mean, they're doing the cold calling. I hear them over there just slamming the phone down and it's become, and like I would see Frankie Caprera post a car and then 2 hours sell it like that. I was like, yeah,
The
man, I don't,
deal of the
I mean,
day, right?
right, the deal of the day. And I'm like, man, I just didn't have the friends like that online up there. I mean, a lot of people knew me, but I just wasn't able to do it like he does. So I came down and I friended everybody in town, and I'm going out everywhere. But you got to, I mean, you just got to be yourself too. You know what I mean? Like you have to. It's all about rapport building because all cars are the same, right? Every brand is pretty much got the same stuff as any other brand. It's the salesman that's going to set it apart. You got to be friendly. You got to be likable, and you got to be able to see through bull junk. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just try to be myself, and like my whole deal is we're gonna be a friend. We're gonna make a friend right off the rip, and we're gonna find the perfect thing that fits for you. I have no reason to do anything shy because I want to sell your family for the rest of your life. For generational. So I don't know. It's I don't know. It's a thing.
No, I feel you, man. No, you've done such a great job with it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and just kind of do a reflection and check back in here in the North Country because I know there's a lot of folks up here that miss you, and they're rooting for you down there in Clover, South Carolina. Do you have anything else you want to shout out here in the North
Dude,
Country?
I want
Anything
to
you want
say
to
I'm proud of you, man. Like I remember watching
go?
you. I would hear you reading the news on the radio station, and I was like, man, who is this guy? And then I came in, and you were joking around, and then you hit that news stuff, and I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. He's got that voice, and then like to kind of follow your career, man, it's pretty cool. But yeah, man, everybody's been great. I miss everybody at NBC. Those guys were great. Mark is an incredible manager up there. I mean, I seen this guy in tears over military stuff when we went to the golf thing he held. I mean,
Yeah,
this
the Old
guy's
Glory
legit.
Classic could be in a
Yes,
couple months. So
yeah, he's a serious, good-hearted guy. I mean, NBC is great up there. I mean, honestly, dude, I just it's hard, man. It sucked to have to leave. I just met so many good people up there, and like, and it's incredible. Like, I mean, not that I don't have friends down here, but I made so many like close connections in 3 years. It's like I mean, I got a group chat with all of my guys at the dealership. I talk to more people up there on a daily basis than I do down here. It's incredible. So yeah, I miss everyone, and yeah, man, keep following NBC and see where this guy right here goes because he's going places.
hey, I appreciate you, Charlie. Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on, all your kind words. Obviously, as I said, we miss you up here. You can always come back, man. We'll always take you with open arms. But anyone in the North Country, they can still reach out to Carolina Chuck for a vehicle. I'm sure there's a way to
Yeah,
get a vehicle up here if you
Facebook,
make
look
the
up
sale.
Carolina Chuck. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
looks like it looks like a great dealership down there, and obviously
Oh
you're having
yeah.
a lot of success. So
And I put people in connection with folks up there too. Make it easy. It's not a big deal. But yeah, if you want to
absolutely
come, if you're coming down to Myrtle Beach or something, say, hey, I'm in Clover. It's just south of Charlotte. So it's
awesome.
81 to 77, and I'm right off of that.
There you go. Can't be much easier.
Yeah.
Well, Carolina Chuck, thank you so much for popping in today. Really appreciate it. And this definitely will not be our last conversation. We'll keep checking in, and you can keep giving us the good word here, man.
All right. Thank you, Tyler.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Once again, thank you so much to Carolina Chuck for taking some time out of his day to check back in with us. We definitely miss him up here in the North Country. NBC Watertown for sure misses Carolina Chuck. We enjoyed having his shows on Mondays at the 6 o'clock hour. But he did mention a little bit how editing for TV is a little bit difficult. He is 100% right. It is tiresome sometimes, and everything has to be right down to the second. So I know he has a lot more freedom keeping his show off of television airwaves. But definitely really enjoy continuing to see all the content that he is putting out there in Clover, South Carolina for Fred Caldwell Chevrolet. He's talking about the community, and as he mentioned, right, he's continuing to get those opportunities to MC events and get out in the public. So just a really cool turn of events, I guess, for Carolina Chuck coming up to the North Country, building that persona and continuing it everywhere that he goes. So best of luck continued to Carolina Chuck. Thanks again for popping on the show. We are going to wrap up Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown right after this break, so stay tuned. And we're back here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. It's time to wrap up the show. We don't have a lot of time left, but in the little bit that we do, I do want to make a plug here because local sports and youth sports are very important to us here at NBC Watertown. As everyone knows, the Stream Team is something that NBC Watertown has developed through years of live streaming local sports, providing it to you in your living rooms or at your fingertips, wherever you are. If you can't make it to a game, NBC Watertown has put that commitment forth to bring live and local games right to you. But this isn't going to be about streaming. I want to make a plug because year over year over year, we hear the same sentiment out of local sports. There are not enough officials. And we are getting to a point where we're at a bit of a danger zone right now with officials. Softball and baseball are struggling to get numbers. And you've seen the rapid decline of sports officials officials in other sports that they just don't have the numbers. And pretty soon you're going to be seeing modified games, potentially JV games, being played without an official there to preside over the game. The problem is definitely not one singular issue. There's multiple issues that have arisen to why numbers are continuing to decrease. But if I could just make a plug for two things here on this show. It's one, we need to be just better and kinder to sports officials, right? Sports officials, especially here in the North Country, are going to make the wrong calls. they might make a call that affects an outcome of a game, which we don't want to happen, but it might happen. And we need to be better. We need to be more supportive. They are not trying to make wrong calls on purpose. These folks really do care. They put a lot of time into their craft, and they deserve respect. They deserve kindness when they're on the court or on the playing field. Please, please, please be nicer to officials. And on the second part, we need more people to step up. Obviously, schedules aren't always the easiest to align. People work till 5, and sometimes games start before 5, or it's harder to leave work early. But if you do have that time, you do have an interest in local athletics, you do have an understanding of the sport, please consider actually putting your name in there and being a sports official. You can reach out to local boards here in the North Country, Section 3, Frontier League. We can NBC Watertown, if you contact NBC Watertown, we can put you in contact with the folks that can help and get you directed. We need more sports officials. The local youth depend on it. And that's my plug, I guess, here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. If you have the means, you have the opportunity, you have the interest, please do not be shy. Reach out, become a sports official today. It's incredibly important. I just can't imagine games being played without officials there to preside over the game. So that's my plug here. And that's pretty much going to do it here for Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. You can catch me same time, same place for another edition of the show next week. Until then, more NBC programming. It's coming up next.